almost there, Katy?
Another 10 or 15 minutes, Stephen.
I'll come.
What's the matter with Dad?
How do you do? I'm Glen Morley.
He's campaigning. The closing week especially is not easy.
But he's all right.
He will be after the election.
How do you do? I'm Glen Morley. How do you do? I'm Glen Morley. How do you do? I'm Glen Morley. How do you do? I'm Glen Morley.
Mr. Morley, I was just trying to waken you. We're here. We've landed.
Was anybody here?
Your mother said she would wait for us at the house. Were you expecting someone else?
No. No, I guess I'll have to pick up my votes one at a time, Katy.
One at a time?
Did you have coats? Can I get them for you?
How do you do? I'm Congressman Glen Morley of Minnesota. I hope you'll remember me on Election Day.
Well, I certainly will, Mr. Morley. It's too bad I live in Washington.
Well, if Mrs. Larson said 3 o'clock, I guess she knows what she's talking about. She'll be here in a few moments anyway. I'll check with her. Well, I guess that's all there is on it, Agnes. I'll try and stop in the office at the end of the day. Thank you.
Any problems?
Oh, only getting elected.
I think it's a wonderful idea using a helicopter.
It will enable us to campaign throughout the district every day.
That was Mrs. Larson's idea.
One of many, I might add. She's the best campaign manager I've ever had.
Well, that's not surprising. She had a lot of experience.
The surprise is that she was willing to be my manager, on top of being county chairman and everything else.
It was gracious of her.
Oh, she's a fine girl, Katy. I know you'll like her.
I think you will.
I feel the international
Well,
situation.
let's see what's on Perkins' mind today.
Not much, I imagine.
Then what would you say, Mr. Perkins, is the chief point of difference between you and the incumbent, Glen Morley?
Local issues, Mr. Bakeman. Quite often when a man goes to Washington, he forgets about the people who sent him there. And that's what's happened to Morley.
How can he say that?
Would you mention some of those local issues, Mr. Perkins?
I'll mention the most important. The proposed closing of a military installation which is vital to the defense of this area and the entire country. Fort Alcona.
Not that again.
You're saying, then, that Congressman Morley favors the closing of Fort Alcona?
I'm saying that he has no position at all on this terribly vital issue. And I'm saying further that when elected, I will carry the word to Washington that the people of this great state of Minnesota insist that Old Glory keeps right on waving over the ramparts of Fort Alcona.
Hogwash.
Of course it is. But it might pick up a lot of votes.
Did I say it wouldn't? Anyway, our chance. Binkman is going to interview me on Thursday.
But I don't understand who wants to close this fort, and should they or not.
The administration, the military, every single expert on local problems.
Then who wants to keep it open?
Candidate Albert Perkins, great patriot of our times, and a lot of voters, I'm afraid.
The local merchants and the landlords and everyone who makes a living out of the fort. But wouldn't they understand if you explained?
It's hard for people to be objective when it's against their personal interests. Now, the place should be closed. With that new installation in Wisconsin, Fort Alcona is as obsolete as the bow and arrow.
Good morning, Morley residents. Yeah, I see. It's the paper. They want your statement on Fort Alcona.
Wouldn't you think newspaper men would have more to do than sit around watching television? I'll take it in the library.
One moment, please. Oh, Himmel. The last trip back in the campaign's always like this. I'll hold it. Hello. You must be Katy Holstrom. Yeah, I'm Doris Larson. You're Mrs. Larson? Were you expecting someone else? Oh, Oh, no. Come in, please.
Thank you.
This way, please.
Yes, I know.
Hello, Mrs. Morley. Oh, it's good to see you
Thank
again.
you. Good to see you. Glen's on the phone. I'll fix some coffee while you girls get acquainted.
Fine. Oh, Katy, I've wanted to meet you for some time. Glen's told me so much about you.
Thank you. Mr. Morley has told me how pleased he is that you will be his campaign manager.
Oh, I'm very happy to help out an old friend.
Mr. Morley is friends with Mr. Larson.
No, I've been divorced for a number of years now. Our friendship started long after that.
I see.
Oh, it's wonderful fun working with Glen again. Oh, now tell me something about yourself, Katy. I know Mr. Morley's highly pleased with your work.
Well, it's wonderful fun working with Mr. Morley and the children.
You're all right, Katy.
Thank you. I'm always anxious to help Mr. Morley.
I'm sure of that.
So, if there's anything I can do in the campaign...
Oh, well, thank you, but I'm an old hand at this. I imagine I'll manage.
I imagine. Good luck.
On the campaign, Katy?
On the election, Mrs. Larson.
Oh, I thought that was you, Doris. And may I ask, what is going on in here?
Well, you may ask, but you won't be told.
Mrs. Larson and I were just getting acquainted.
Oh, good, good.
Yes, and I'm sure we're going to be very good friends.
Wonderful.
What was going on in there?
Alcona. Perkins brought it up again. The newspapers wanted me to make a statement.
What did you say?
That I am studying the issue from every angle, but that I can make no recommendation until my study is completed.
Oh, that sounds perfectly sincere to me. Don't you think so?
Well, I'm sorry. I don't understand. I thought you had made up your mind.
Well, yes, Katy, I had. I am for closing the fort, but I cannot say so. There are too many people around here with vested interests in keeping it open. So I do the next best thing. I say nothing. I take the matter under advisement.
I see.
Oh, cheer up, Katy. They're much more important issues, you know.
Here we are. Oh, Mary, will you put the tray on the table?
Well, we'll just have to let Glen run on his record. After all, it's a very fine record.
Mother, I am afraid that we're going to have to run along.
Oh, next time I make it instant coffee.
Thanks. We're going to be late tonight. See you in the morning. Goodbye, Katy.
Bye, Mrs. Morley. See you, Katy.
Bye.
Like a cup of coffee?
Oh, I think I would like some.
Well, what do you think of Doris?
Well, she's everything Mr. Morley said. And one more thing. She's very pretty.
Isn't she?
Is she interested in Mr. Morley?
She and Glen did see a good deal of each other at one time.
Well, they do have a great deal in common.
She's very active, politically.
It makes it very difficult to disagree with her without seeming to criticize Mr. Morley.
I think a little criticism would hurt Glen.
Well, under the circumstances, I would rather not criticize. But why cannot politicians just say what they think?
What are you trying to do, Katy? Start a revolution?
Glen up yet? He came in very late last night.
Oh, what a terrible photograph of him.
But very good of Mrs. Larson.
Perkins Hammers Fort Alcona issue.
He asks when Mr. Morley's going to take a position.
Glen has been taking positions on every issue under the sun.
I wish politicians would not make themselves look so foolish.
Well, it's always been like that. Shaking hands, kissing babies, the good old common touch.
I'm not sure we want common people as our leaders. I think we need outstanding people.
I agree.
Oh,
But think of all the unkissed babies.
Good morning. Is there any coffee around here?
can I fix you some breakfast? Pancakes, eggs, bacon?
Oh, no thanks, Katy. Doris and I went out last night for a little relaxation. Just a cup of black coffee will be fine.
Then can't you keep your chin up when you're being photographed?
One of the feathers in that Indian headdress was tickling the back of my neck. Oh, it's nice of Doris, though.
How is the campaign coming?
So-so. Mr. Perkins made 43 appearances yesterday.
What did he say?
Nothing, but he did say it 43 times.
Perhaps it is better to say nothing 43 times. I just wish someone would say something once about 40...
Well, what time is it? That can't be Doris. Come in!
I don't suppose you will be home for dinner tonight.
Well, there's that cocktail party this afternoon, and right after that, the banquet.
Good morning. Glen, we're running late.
And whose fault is that?
It seemed like a good idea last night.
Just one little cup for old Lang Syne.
I never knew that song had so many verses. Well, let's get going if we want to catch up. Is there anything I can do to help? Oh, just keep the home fires burning, Katy. Yeah, keep the home fires burning.
They also serve only stand and wait.
John Milton.
John Milton.
But he was not running for anything when he said it.
I haven't seen Dad in almost a week.
That's not exactly true, Danny.
Sure, we saw the back of his head going out the door yesterday.
Election is just a few days off.
Did we see him off now if we were old enough to vote?
If you were old enough to vote, you would be out helping with his campaign.
How come you aren't working for his campaign, Katy? Aren't you old enough to vote?
I'm keeping the home fires burning.
Katy, can you make an appointment for me with Dad for tonight? I have to get my allowance.
He won't be home till very late this evening. You can see him in the morning.
Promise?
Promise.
You promised I could stay up on election night till we win.
You can.
Hey, Katy, isn't that Mr. Perkins?
Good afternoon. I'm Albert Perkins. I'm running for Congress. I hope you'll vote for me. Hi, Charlie.
Him. What can we do to him?
You're going to behave like gentlemen.
Good afternoon. I'm Albert Perkins.
Yeah, I know.
Good. Then you know I'm running for Congress against Glen Morley.
Yeah.
My campaign is geared to local issues. And I hope you're aware that if I'm elected, I pledge to keep Fort Alcona open.
Why?
Why? Because it's needed. It's good for the defense of this area and for the whole country.
And for the pocketbooks of the local merchants.
No, the fort is vital to the defense network of the entire country.
That is not what the Defense Department says.
Well, I don't know where you get your information, young lady, but you don't know what you're talking about.
She gets it from my dad, and he knows what he's talking about.
Danny.
Your dad?
Congressman Morley.
Well, and what is it your dad has to say about the fort, son?
The congressman says...
Yes, we're waiting. The whole district is waiting.
The congressman says... Nothing.
That's exactly my point. No matter how often we ask him, Congressman Morley says nothing.
Albert Perkins in a sidewalk debate today with Miss Katy Holstrom, an aide to Congressman Glen Morley.
I did not say I was an aide to Mr. Morley.
No, Katy, I'm sure you didn't.
Elicited a flat statement that Morley had nothing to say on the Fort Alcona issue.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
The people have a right to know where Morley stands, he went on. A ready-made headline at a crucial point.
All right, Doris. It's just one of those things.
Just one of those things that loses elections.
I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, just forget it. These things happen.
Well, the point is, what action do we take now?
What time is that Binkman thing tomorrow?
It's for the evening newscast, but it's taped first thing in the morning.
I suppose we're kidding ourselves to hope it won't come up during the interview.
With Binkman, let's face it, after this, we can't brush Alcona under the rug anymore.
What is our move?
Take the steam out of Perkins' argument. Agree with him. Come out in favor of Alcona.
What?
Go ahead, Doris.
After all, it is the popular stand now, and at this point, you can't afford not to take it.
Well, it is one thing to avoid an issue, but to lie about what you believe, to deliberately pretend to believe something else.
Please, Katy, I would like to hear what Mrs. Larson has to say.
But you're not the kind of person that does that sort of thing.
I am not doing anything. I would like to hear what my campaign manager has to say. Now, do you mind?
Well, it evidently does not matter if I do.
All right, Katy, that's enough. Now, I don't hold you responsible for what happened with Perkins, but it did create a problem, and we have to find out how to deal with it.
It did not create a problem. It just kept it from being hidden.
I am not going to argue with you. We are talking practical politics here.
Mr. Morley, all I'm trying to say is that
Katy, you are saying entirely too much. From here on out, remember that in political matters, Mrs. Larson is the expert. Oh, all right, Doris, I'm listening.
Oh, Mrs. Larson.
Katy, I didn't know you were still up. Glen wanted some fresh coffee.
I will make it.
Katy, if you're still brooding about that newspaper story, don't. You've helped Mr. Morley enormously.
Oh?
Look, I wanted him to come out in favor of Alcona from the start, but I knew better than to try selling him on it. Now you've forced his hand, he has no other choice, and he knows it.
Well, then I have certainly been no help.
On the contrary, it'll win the election for him.
And you really believe this is the right way to do it?
Katy, it's the name of the game.
It is not a game. It is an election to represent the people. It is to determine who is best qualified to lead them. That cannot be a man who will not speak out on an issue, a man who will lie.
A man who will be elected. Don't you understand? To do good, you have to be elected. And to get elected, you tell the people what they want to hear.
The people can be made to understand they're not all selfish.
Oh, come on, Katy.
Even if you're right about the people, and I know you're not, it would be better to lose.
For you, Katy, better to lose. But not for me. I'm a winner. I like winning. I intend to go on winning.
You mean Mr. Morley?
Yes, I do. I think Glen's beginning to realize that we have more in common than just politics.
And you do not care what this does to him? This telling of lies, this being a different man?
Well, look, nobody decided I'm the bad guy and you're on the side of the angels. It's a matter of opinion.
No, it is a matter of morality. Mr. Morley, I must speak to you.
Very well, Miss Holstrom. I will listen to you. Thank you, Mother.
That's all right. I'll give the boys your apologies and $1 apiece extra as allowance.
An extra $1 apiece?
Well, I understand that you promised I'd spend some time with them this morning. Well, that's impossible. I have to be at the studio in 15 minutes.
That does not mean that you should give... Well, Mr. Morley, I must speak to you about something else.
All right, Kitty.
Even though you say Mrs. Larson is the political expert and not me, I do have an opinion. I know many people living in Minnesota, and they're all good people, Mr. Morley.
Yes?
These people would listen to anything you explain to them, but they will not forgive what you hide from them.
Oh, I see now. You still want to talk about Alcona.
I'm not talking about Fort Alcona. I'm talking about trusting people to do the right thing.
Well, suppose you're wrong. Suppose the people cannot be trusted to do the right thing.
At least you would have done what is right. You are representative of local people, but you serve all the people. If you cannot be leader, you do not deserve to be elected.
I see. Well, then, between Mr. Perkins and me, suppose I were the lesser of two evils. What then?
You do not permit your opponent to choose his own weapon. You set your own standards.
I'm afraid Mrs. Larson wouldn't agree with you. Mrs. Larson says the most important thing is to win the election, and she says she knows how to do it.
Mrs. Larson is not using good judgment right now because she...
Yes?
She loves you.
Well, I'd certainly say that was bad judgment, all right. Wouldn't you?
Now let us turn to local issues, Mr. Congressman. Mr. Perkins has been making a big point about the closing of Fort Alcona. He's against it. Your position has been that you're studying the matter.
That is correct.
Do you anticipate that your study will be completed in the near future?
My study is complete. Should the fort be closed, undoubtedly many local people will suffer financially.
Mr. Perkins has maintained that Alcona is vital to our national security.
Now, that is precisely the issue as I see it. Whether, in fact, Mr. Perkins' statement is true.
And what is your opinion?
As an officially elected representative, I have the responsibility to back my opinions with facts, and the facts are these. The Pentagon has assured the security of this sector with other facilities which have made the fort obsolete. Therefore, the administration wants to close it.
Now that you have told us the Pentagon's position and the administration's position, Mr. Morley, would you tell us your position at this time?
Yes. I can hardly advocate economy in the rest of the nation if I oppose it here at home. As one of my aides said only this morning, we must do that which is best for the country as a whole. Accordingly, I favor the closing of Fort Alcona as soon as possible.
Thank you, Congressman Morley. This concludes a special pre-election interview with Congressman Glen Morley. Charles W. Binkman reporting.
I think I have never been more proud of Mr. Morley.
I do.
I only hope I was right and that his honesty does not cost him the election. This morning I told Mr. Morley I thought he must speak out. The people decide. And it makes me very happy that he listened.
And I was very happy that he listened to me when I told him the same thing.
Oh?
I have a feeling that he'd made up his own mind before he spoke to either of us.
So, on the national picture, there seems to be little doubt that our early computations are proving correct. Turning to the Midwest, in Minnesota, interest is focused all night on the race between the congressional incumbent Glen Morley and challenger Albert Perkins. Morley took an early lead soon after the count started, but the Perkins headquarters has refused throughout the night to make any statement. But we now have a special announcement.
Well, tell us.
Albert Perkins has just issued a formal concession of defeat, and Glen Morley is re-elected to Congress.
Oh, congratulations, Mr. Morley.
Thank you, Katy.
I don't have to go to bed till the election's over. I get to stay up no matter how late. Katy says I get to stay up till it's over.
It is over, Danny.
Yeah?
I won. Now, what do you say we go upstairs and go to bed?
Gee, what a gift.
Hello, Glen.
Girl talk?
Yeah, not for you.
I thought you were in favor of giving the voters all the facts.
Most of the time. But in this case, we're not ready to commit ourselves. We're still studying the issue.
Katy, the farmer's daughter.
Stay tuned for Here Come the Brides, coming up next on TV 39.
Bitty design. Got a smile that's sprinkled with sunshine. Look at the farmer's daughter. She'll perk up your morale. Her brand of charm is so disarming. Frowns turn upside down. The old Wadette to Sweden. She's just what we've been needing. So glad the farmer's daughter came to town.